Hello everybody, this is Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and I just wanted to hop on here for a short little Facebook Live and share a little message with you all. If you've watched my Facebook Lives before, you know that I tend to do pretty long ones, but I am going to try to do some shorter ones here in the future. Emphasis on try. So we'll see how it goes. So this is an unannounced Facebook Live. So nobody knows. Like, everybody got the notification just now. So we'll see if anyone joins us. Either way is totally fine, because I have just like a little reminder, a little inspiration to share with all of you. And so this inspiration is all about why it's important to get away sometimes. So like to get out of town or get out of your usual environment, why that's important. And the reason why this is on the top of my mind is because this past weekend I took a little mini trip, a little road trip with a really good friend of mine, and it was just a couple of days. We were just gone for 2 nights, so we drove out one afternoon. We spent driving out there excuse me, driving out there, and then we had 1 full day there, and then the next day we got up and went and got something to eat, and then drove home. And so we just basically had 1 whole day there. But just doing that was so life-changing for me. It was exactly what I needed. And actually, there were some really important things that I've been trying to get clarity about for a couple months now. And I just wasn't able. It's complicated. It's a really complicated story. But I just wasn't able to accomplish getting that clarity in my regular space. Not only not at my usual space at home here, but like in Kansas City at all. Like, I had to totally get out of Kansas City. And what was so funny was that within 2 hours of being there, so the day that we drove up, we'd been there for maybe a couple of hours, and we were driving from one place to another place at that locale. And I think we were on our way to go eat dinner or something. And I started laughing, and I was like, we've only been here for a couple of hours, and I already have pretty much figured everything out. Like, I had total clarity, like all these aha moments, and it's like, oh, okay, this is so cool. So, yeah, so it happened pretty quickly for me. I actually did try going, there's my neighbor. I actually did try going somewhere last month, and for complicated reasons, it didn't work for me to get the clarity I was looking for. And so I was kind of frustrated about that. And then when my friend, she had scheduled this trip, and she invited me to go along with her, and I wasn't planning on doing any traveling. Like, I had already spent my travel money, and I was going to be staying home for a while. And it was so awesome that she invited me to go along with her, because that was exactly what I needed to finally have that breakthrough. So here's what that means for you. Here's what I want you to know, is that not only when you get away from your normal environment, it can help you reduce your stress. It can be fun, like all those things, right? But here's the thing that happens when you're in your usual environment, whether it's like your neighborhood, your home, or even your whole city, your whole area where you live. You're used to that energy there, right? So you're used to that energy, and you kind of can get stuck in a certain set point. So let's say you're trying to get clarity about something, or you're trying to work on your growth. your personal growth, your spiritual growth, your spiritual vibration, or you're trying to understand something happening in your life or whatever, like there's this certain set point or like maybe a certain threshold of where your system is used to being within. Oh, got a scam phone call coming through. Do you guys get those sometimes? Yeah, I've already gotten like 5 today. I get them all the time. So there's like this certain threshold that sometimes you'll get stuck at when you are surrounded by your usual vibrations. And even if you like live alone in a house out in the middle of nowhere, which is like, that describes me. You're like your own energy, like your own limiting beliefs and your own funk, like your own like junk that you're releasing. It just kind of starts to permeate the environment. And that's true to some extent, even if you're doing regular energy clearing. Like there's just a particular energy imprint on that space of that's aligned with your usual set point, with your usual thresholds. So sometimes you have to like completely remove yourself from that, go somewhere else completely. And in my case, it was just like a few hours away drive. So it wasn't like we had to fly across the other side of the world, although you could totally do that if you want to. So to completely remove yourself from those usual vibrations and get into a different kind of energy, and hopefully an energy that's really aligned with you, one that's very supportive. In my situation, we went to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and we were staying at a very naturey kind of place, which is always a good kind of location for me. And also that particular place, well, Arkansas, the whole state, but especially Eureka Springs, it's very magical kind of energy, and there's a lot of spiritual energy, and it's one of just a couple places on the planet where there are the most crystals in the earth. So I could definitely feel that. Like the downloads were so easy there, and it's just a couple of hours from where I live right now. So, wherever you feel called to go, sometimes just getting away will help you get out of your own funk, out of your own stuckness or confusion or whatever it is that you're dealing with. Now, you might have certain constraints like family, kids, job, finances, or maybe even health things that might make it difficult for you to go out of town. So you could just kind of do a smaller version of that where you just make a day trip where you drive, maybe an hour out of town. So you don't have to sleep somewhere overnight, but you just get out of town for the day, and go out to the country somewhere and, have a picnic on a blanket or whatever you need to do. Bring your journal, take a nap, lay out in the grass or whatever. Even going to a park in town for a couple of hours is better than not doing it at all. That's twice a day. It gets noisy because we have a little road right here, a dirt road, and all the kids get off of school, so the big school bus comes and up and down the road. Anyway, so it's super important for you at least once a year to get away from your usual environment, and you'll find that you have bigger breakthroughs and bigger clarity. Just imagine this, like you're living your life and you just kind of get caught up in the routine and just all the usualness of what it usually is, right? And then you literally remove yourself and you're like usually here and then you're way over here, and you get a different perspective. And I had this really interesting kind of experience when I was on my trip. I spent a lot of time writing and meditating, and then we also went out and did a couple of fun things. So it was a really great balance of a trip. But I remember having this unique kind of thing where I was meditating, and for me, I don't do an empty mind meditation, by the way, my meditations are more active. So I was just kind of like floating along some thoughts and kind of getting clarity about some things. And in my mind's eye, I saw me at this place where I live right here. So when I was out in Eureka Springs, I saw this property and my house, and I saw this person who was me, like walking around. There's me, hi, and I saw this perspective of like, oh, there's that person who lives in the house, and it was really interesting because it gave me some clarity about what living here on this property and what living in Kansas City, like, because I live outside of about 15 minutes away from Kansas City, what living here is all about. Like, I was able to I literally had a bird's eye view, and I saw what it's like for me energetically living here and on this property and in this area of the planet. And you may not get clairvoyant visions like I do, but getting away will definitely help you get perspective on your life, your lifestyle, what isn't working, what needs to be changed, any negative influences that are happening and what to do about it. And it's just so powerful getting away. And when I did some traveling earlier on in the year, I did some like low budget traveling. But even then there was this thought that like, well, I shouldn't be traveling because I have XYZ, responsibilities, or, I shouldn't be spending money on traveling or whatever. But I felt such a strong compulsion. Like, I've just felt so compelled, like I have to do this. I felt so compelled to get out of my usual energy so that I could see some things differently. And I'm really glad that I did, even though I mentioned that my last trip didn't turn out as expected. But what I'm getting at is that even if you have a story in your head that like, well, I shouldn't be spending money on a 2-day getting out of town trip because I need to be paying off blah, blah, blah. Or, so-and-so needs me. These family members need me. And so I shouldn't take off for a couple of days, or whatever false limiting belief that you have about why you shouldn't be investing that time or whatever amount of money the trip is going to cost. Believe me, it will be well worth it. Like, it's totally worth it. The personal replenishment that you'll get, your cup will be filled back up. You'll have so much more clarity. You'll be able to come back to your life with more clarity, more focus, more understanding of what you need to release, what's working, what's not working. And those negative forces that are keeping you running on a gerbil wheel, are going to lose their impact. You're going to be able to live a more intentional life without those negative influences messing with you so much. So that's my clarity that I wanted to share with all of you. I've been working today. I got back yesterday. I've been working today and getting caught up on a whole bunch of stuff because I was away from the office for a few days. So getting caught up today, and then in the back of my mind, I had these thoughts mulling about sharing this with all of you. So I hope that you find it helpful. And if you've taken a trip recently, or even not recently, sometime in the past, or if you're planning on taking a trip in the future, go ahead and share that with us. If it's a trip that you've already been on, how did that trip impact you? Were you able to gain some clarity? Were you able to, did being in a different vibration allow you to move up to, did it allow you to bust through some of your thresholds because of removing yourself from your usual environment and going somewhere else allowed you to move your vibrational set point to a different point? Did you have that happen? So what was significant about your trip? Like, how did it help to shift you or move you to a different place so that when you came back home, your life was different after that? And then if you have a trip coming up in the future that you want to share with us, and tell us what you hope to achieve. Like, why are you going on that trip? Why do you feel compelled to go? And what do you hope to achieve? So, we do have one person, I think, who has joined us. Yeah, like I said, this Facebook Live was unannounced, so I just popped on here. I didn't know if anyone would join us or not, but I'm glad that I did. I do know we're going to have plenty of people watching the replay, so please do go ahead and share in the comments. Hey, Constance, good to see you. So please do share in the comments, and I will also be posting this on my YouTube channel as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, hello, and share your comments on YouTube as well. So Constance is waving hello. One more thing, just my little blurb that I want to share here at the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, this Facebook Live is taking place in my free Facebook group that's called Spiritual Empowerment Community with Maya Zahira. And you can put that in the search in Facebook and you will find it. And I hope you will join us because this is a really great group. And then if you want to know more about what I do regarding my services and my programs regarding spiritual empowerment, then you can find me at www.psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. I hope everybody has a beautiful day, and let's go out by looking at the prairie. It's a gorgeous day out here on the Kansas prairie, and I hope that wherever you are, you take some time to get outside, get some fresh air, and take like a little miniature getting away, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then think about how you can figure out a way to get away from it all sometime in the future. Get creative with it. Don't just assume that it can't be done. Take a breath. As always, I'm sending you all my love, and I will see you next time. Bye.